You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 Heels and a Face.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Twos in the Fast Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, we're kind of continuing the theme of rehashing.
Revisiting old friends.
Revisiting old friends is the theme, I would say. It's not to say that we haven't seen, like 2 weeks ago, right? We spoke to Darius Luttrell ahead of his title shot, which I don't think went his way. At the last freelance show. We don't have to get into any of that, but it had been years since we talked to Darius officially on the podcast. Right. We see him at every show, just like we see our guests today, pretty much at every show, and we say hi. Every show that we go to, we don't go to every show. But
let's not get into that either. We'll hit up those freelance shows for sure.
I do have my ticket to Freelance X. I think, though, Chris, you have that it's family stuff going on, though, right?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Hopefully, surprise entrance. I don't know.
Chris is going to do it later on. No, but we have. What I'm trying to say is we haven't talked to this person officially on the podcast audio since November of 2019. So that was before the world went to shit, Chris.
That might have been one of the last in-person recordings that we did. And yes. I mean, one of the most memorable, like we even off pod, we talk about that episode recording. Like it was with, and I'll give it away now. Like our guest, Blair Onyx, it was Mr. Kate. It was, I'm drawing a blank on the indie name.
Name starts with an E.
Elena Black.
There you go. I knew you had it.
There you go. For sure. And did we have some? Was it a fourth one?
No. It was just those three.
It was just them three, and we just felt that podcast episode was super cool. Like we had women wrestlers that were in the indie scene. They were hot. They were getting the attention. And why not shine the spotlight on them?
Yeah.
So that was super cool.
We came out of that conversation in November-ish of 2019. I think everyone in that room felt great. I think Blair, Elena, they were like kind of, like you said, like just kind of rising, just kind of starting that journey. I think they felt great about it. We honestly felt good. I think the episode just did really well too in terms of overall numbers. And the more the merrier. There's 5 of us in the room hanging out. So we're going to revisit a little bit of those vibes today with our guest Blair Onyx. But it's just nice to check in. Blair is someone we've always been supportive of.
100%.
And Blair has grown, I'm sure, leaps and bounds since that time. Has gone through ups and downs since that time. And honestly, it was awesome initiative. Like she reached out to us. She was like, here's what I want to talk about. And we're like, absolutely. Yes. And she's basically the unofficial third member of this podcast today. So maybe we should sign her up for future episodes and she can do our work instead of us doing anything.
Hey, sometimes we just got to pass the baton, and that might be it.
All right. Let's bring her in though. What do you say?
Yeah, Blair is in the green room. She's waiting for us, and we're waiting for her. So, coming in, Blair Onyx.
Hello.
Blair, how's it going?
It's good. It's great.
How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy traveling. I've been training a lot at Freelance in Chicago. I've been doing the wrestling.
Doing the thing. November 2019. What was Blair like in November 2019? Do you remember sitting in that room and us talking and everything like that? Like, think back to that time. What was going on in your head during that time?
I was super nervous to do. I don't still to this day. I don't do like a lot of interviews or podcasts.
Okay.
I think in the beginning of my career, I just felt like I didn't have much to say, and I didn't really have like my voice yet. I was super nervous to talk about anything, like saying the wrong thing. And I feel like throughout the years, I've definitely like gotten so much more comfortable with myself, and like I feel like my voice like doesn't shake anymore when I try to speak and I try to say the things I want to say, and it's good. It feels like really nice to be able to not stress so much about talking and talking about my life and how wrestling is going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
So
wild to think that, 2019 was like, we're talking about this like at the beginning of your career.
Yeah,
Like,
early.
right. Like, I'm like, to me, like, we brought you on because you're already making some noise in the indie scene, right? Like, and it's
Yeah.
like, we want to hear from you. We want to know who Blair Onyx is. But to
Mhm.
you, it's like, oh, at the beginning of my career, like that's even like a little bit weird to hear you say that.
Mhm. Time flies. That's like what,
Yep.
years ago now? Or that does not seem like that long ago, honestly.
yeah, I remember you were confident enough to hit the. Didn't you hit these? We did the word association, right? Because that was a buffet line episode.
Mhm.
For those listening who aren't familiar, when we did, like the first time we really talk to someone, we do a buffet line episode, and that is kind of just like a top to bottom, who are you kind of
Mhm.
more episode. This is a little bit like a catch up. We know who Blair is. If you want to go back, you the listener, go back and listen to that one. This could be like the sequel to that. But we did the word association, and you hit green for Zello Pro, which
Yeah.
is the answer we try to get out of literally, like, we've been setting that trap for years since then. Oh, nice.
I
Zello
s-
necklace.
a medallion from Zello Pro. They owe me a title shot. So where is it? Oh, really?
Where is it? But I remember you didn't seem nervous to me then. I'm sure maybe you were just kind of playing it off. But you've obviously grown in confidence since then, right? Like
I would hope so.
your confidence is at like if your confidence is at like a 1 or 2 back then, what is it now? Like a scale of 1 to 10?
Like a 7. I
7.
would
Okay.
Nice.
8 on a good day.
What do you think are some things you've like, and you can just go any alley which way you want, just down any rabbit hole.
Mhm.
What are some major things you've learned? Like, what are some things you would go back in time to tell Blair in 2019?
Well, okay, so I feel like in the beginning of my career, I definitely got a lot of opportunities, which is amazing, and I never felt like I was short of work, but I definitely feel like I was put out there, and I was still learning. I was still trying to pick everything up, and
Mm-hmm.
I definitely got a lot of opportunities that I wasn't ready for, and then later on in my career, I had to kind of like reprove myself in a way.
Okay.
And I feel like my biggest regret in my career is when I felt like I proved myself and I was like getting the reactions I wanted and I felt like I was finally doing what I set out to do. I got super comfortable. I was like, oh, I did it. Work is done. I made it. But I feel like when I started to feel like that and when I started to just not care about the work and not care about all the little things, that's when I lost everything. I lost so many booking opportunities just because my head wasn't in it, and you could
Yeah.
definitely, like, in my wrestling, it's kind of hard to watch some stuff back, but we live and we learn.
Right. Okay. So, what are you? So, were you putting it up to like? Was it maybe oh, Chris dropped. That's okay, we keep going. So was it up to maybe like like, what were the mental things that were troubling at the time? It sounds like maybe some complacency a little bit. Don't let me put the words in your mouth, but you tell me if that's what it sounds like. And was it like a lack of motivation a little bit too?
I feel like I was just like going through the motions because I was wrestling so much. I was wrestling like 3-4 times a weekend. And so I would come back and my neck would hurt and I would just not want to go and like make the effort. I would still work out. I never stopped out, but I definitely feel like there was a period of time where I decided to just take a step back from training all the time because I felt like my body was just really, really going through it. And I justified it in my mind, like, oh, I can like go out there and wrestle for 10-15 minutes, but like wrestling for 3 hours for in a training, I don't know if my neck can handle that after. It hurts so bad. My neck I had a lot of like neck pain that I did a lot of physical therapy for it too. I feel like it's been an issue that I just had to take a step back from wrestling. And I could blame it on myself and say like, oh, like I got lazy, I got complacent, I just didn't care to work anymore. But I just honestly had a lot going on, and I truly like had to take a step back. And I feel like when I look back, I just have to treat myself with a little bit of grace, because I think for the time I was still trying my best. I knew like I didn't want to give up wrestling, but I just felt like I wasn't working hard enough to like even call myself a wrestler. I felt like it was just everything felt the same. And I've never like experienced something like that in my career before, because I felt like my first 2 years were just so exciting. And to get to a point where I was just showing up and it just, same thing, different day. It was lame. And I felt like my wrestling wasn't improving because I wasn't training consistently. Like that's like probably my biggest flex this year. I started training consistently every week, and I feel like I'm starting to pick things up again, and I'm very excited for the future.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for being so open about this. I think and we, I think, do this about you too. You really do lead the example of like breaking the stigma of mental health, at least out of the people that we've talked to and the wrestlers that I think I know, and like within the local community. You really are leading the way in terms of that. So thank you for being open and honest with us. And thanks for choosing us too. You could have talked to anyone, but we appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, welcome
Chris
back.
is back. Chris, you have a kid thing?
I'll be really honest. It's kind of funny. I just got called up because Itzel's brushing her teeth. That's my oldest daughter. She's 8. She's getting ready for bed. There was a really huge spider in our bathroom. So I had to take care of business.
Blair, do you know that spider?
Not anymore. If you killed it, did you let it go outside at least?
Scooped it up in a mason jar and let it out in the backyard.
Okay.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
I did not. I killed the spider.
I know it.
I had to, or else she would not sleep throughout the whole night.
This is all part of Blair's plan: distract you and then send in one of her rogue agents to into your house.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Spider on spider crime, not great. So let's get into the talk about training. Mm-hmm. What is consistency, right? That's big. But anything else new? Like, what is a new approach? Anything else new you've been trying at training? Anything with like the coaches, like Isaiah's, Kylie, even we'll count GPA too. I roll. I'm joking. But any new stuff you're trying there?
Yeah, I really like the dynamic of the freelance wrestling academy, because there's a lot of different people to learn from. I feel like they all have their own different strengths, and it's cool to just be able to go to a different class every week and like learn from different people. And I feel like for my training approach, I just kind of started to nudge myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I'm definitely a comfort zone girly, and I have to really like push myself to do things that I'm scared of, because wrestling, it's pretty dangerous, and sometimes there's some things to do that are a little scary. And so I feel like I've had a lot of support too through like the freelance wrestling academy students. I feel like it's such a supportive group of students. We all just want to like see each other win, and I don't know. I'm really, really happy where I train now. And I'm really glad I started going every week. And I feel like the person, the first time, like, because I took a break from training, I just needed some time for myself.
Right.
The first classes I started to go back to were Kylie Rae's classes. And honestly, I fell like back in love with wrestling when I started going to her classes every week because I genuinely felt like so supported and I felt like she knew like how to convince me or like make me want to do things that scared me. And I feel like that's insane. Like I for like 2 years it was like dragging me to training. I would be
Yeah.
thinking about it the whole day, like so anxious. But I started to feel excited again. And it's kind of how I felt like in the beginning of my career. So I'm really like glad to feel like as excited for wrestling now as I did in the start of my career because I haven't felt that way in like a long time. It's been years.
Yeah. Was it like her positive spirit? I'm assuming her classes as positive, like her coaching is as positive as her in the ring.
Mean sometimes. Don't get on her bad side.
No, definitely. Chris and I have talked about how we feel like she could have some sort of heel run where, like, maybe she snaps or something breaks, but it looks like she's mostly tries to be positive.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like if I didn't start going to her classes when I did, I don't know if I would be wrestling right now because
Wow.
things were not looking good.
Definitely. Is it so as someone too, and I want to open up as well and relate as someone who I've been to therapy for anxiety. It to me, I have better weeks when I have better weeks that and less anxious weeks when there's like a good balance and consistency and like routine. I'm not like super routine regimented because I work from home. So some days I wake up this, da, da, da. But like if I can just knock out these 5 things in a week, have a little bit of fun during the week, but then get my stuff done. It's just like a good balance. Like, does that work for you too? Where it's like having the consistent training that keeps me like even throughout the week. Like, does that help with the psyche?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I really thrive off a routine. I like
Okay.
to know what I'm doing. I like to know like for the most part who's going to be there. I like to know this kind of things and I don't know. I feel like it's okay if my weeks change a little bit because like I travel to like different cities usually every weekend and so I don't have like a crazy amount of consistency, but when I'm home like I definitely try to keep a routine, like go to training, go to the gym, really focus on looking better and being better than I was last weekend on my shows. I feel like that's what I've been focusing on. Like the time I have home because it's not like crazy like TV schedule, but I'm traveling still a lot and it it's really nice to like have a goal when I'm back home versus I don't know, just doing nothing. And I really like to stay busy and then
Yeah.
it really helps just to keep I don't know. I feel like if I would go crazy if I just sat at home, it would just be me and my thoughts. And I don't want
No, as someone who has anxiety, like I think staying an idle mind, unless it's like an idle mind basically is a bad thing because then you start to think about the past and the future, and that's where like a lot of my anxiety comes from. It's like, oh, remember when I did that one awful thing 17 years ago?
oh
Like
yeah.
that's an anxious thought. So it's like if I keep my mind focused on the next hobby or the next or like the next thing I got to do or just even like a show or a movie, I stop thinking about those things. So I can relate to that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I feel like I don't know. I started thinking this way. It's a little delulu, but I feel like it worked for me. So maybe it'll work for others because I definitely feel that, and I have like been up at night just thinking about something I did like 2 years ago. Like I messed up
Yeah.
this move, and I'm like, oh, someone's gonna watch it on YouTube or something, and they're gonna laugh at me.
Yeah.
But
It's a real thing.
I feel like genuinely I have felt this way so many times. Like over different things. Like I have done so many embarrassing things in my life. So what's another one? Like I'm gonna do more and more is gonna happen. And all I can do is laugh because if I'm like, it already happened. The bad thing is going to happen. People are going to do what they want. Like, we're not in control of that. But, you know, I can forget about it in 5 minutes and then it doesn't affect me, even if they do laugh at me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it truly, because all the goats, they have haters. So what's some for me?
Well, it's true.
It's the Lulu, but like, genuinely, I started to just, like, I'll let myself be embarrassed for a second. And then, you know, usually when I look back a few years, it's kind of funny. Like, because I feel like we grow so much in 3 years, or like, say it was 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like fully identify my current self as the person I was 3 years ago. Like, if I look at myself wrestling 3 years ago, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that now. Like, or you would hope I wouldn't. But it's okay to laugh. I feel like it's okay to just mess up and grow. And, you know, life is short. We're going to be embarrassed. We're human beings. But I don't know. I feel like I've let myself laugh at things a lot more. And that's helped me.
Yeah. No, that is extreme. That's extremely emotionally intelligent, kind of what you said, and then not letting it define you, because obviously you realize, like, in my example, if it's like an embarrassing thing, I realize, like, oh, I probably wouldn't do that today. Like, that was just a past me, and I slipped up, and it's all good. It doesn't define me. So I think it's very, very smart. You sound like you have received some mental health help and have come out stronger on the other side. That's what you sound like to me.
Yeah, most definitely.
You mentioned traveling. Where have you been lately? And let me, as someone who doesn't travel very well, whether it's like an hour flight or 2 hours in the car, Chris, I don't know. Chris made a face. I don't know what that face means. I know I do travel, but I'm not like pleasant while I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I'm pleasant when I get to the destination.
You know how long this trip was? In the car?
What is it?
For total, from when we left to when we got to the destination, it was a total of 40 hours.
What?
Where do you go? What is 40 hours worth of a trip?
It's the time I left my passport in my wallet on the roof of a car at a gas station, and then drove off 6 hours away while I slept, right? I'm sleeping this whole time. 6 hours later, I wake up and I'm like, where's my wallet? Because we were going to Canada for a tour. So I thought about it, and then I was like, I don't see it anywhere. And then I remembered, I got a gas. And so we ended up figuring out which gas station we stopped at. I don't know how we did, but we figured it out, and we called them, and they had my wallet. And all my money was stolen, but the passport was there. So we drove back, and 6 hours back, and then we had to go back. And we were going from Davenport to Calgary, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Is that right?
That's how Lillian Garcia would announce it, I think.
Yes. Okay. That's where we went. And total 40-hour trip.
So the six there, the six back, the six there, that's 18 of that. Was my math right? Wait, 6 times
far, because we had to leave from Davenport a few hours, and then we had to drive the 6 hours, 6 hours back. So 18 added to whatever, like, distant. I subtract a little. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
Well, the credit goes, like, obviously for you to be able to make that happen, but who was with you on that trip?
Yeah, who was the unlucky driver?
I had a few people with me from my old training school.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, shout out to them as well. I mean, that could be.
So this was when was this?
This was like 2019. I would say 2019.
Oh, this was 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. As of recent, where have you been doing any traveling recently? Like to other promotions?
I go to Winnipeg sometimes for wrestling. That's probably the furthest I go right now. I travel to Wisconsin, like the neighboring states a ton. Like, I started wrestling in Michigan a lot more for
Nice.
like Metro Pro Wrestling, GLWA. I've started to wrestle a lot more in Michigan, which is I like wrestling in Michigan. I think the fans are always pretty loud and they're there for a good time. And I go up to Ohio sometimes. I think I'm about to be there. I think that's their Tri-State Wrestling. I'm about to debut there.
Cool.
I go to St. Louis a lot for Glory Pro. I'm about to have a show there on Father's Day. And if Dan the dad works there, so
Of
there
course.
you go.
it's super fitting. Of course he would run a show on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And then where else? I go to Wisconsin.
That's a lot of places.
I've been busy. Yeah, I've been traveling, which is great. And it's awesome to be excited for it again. And I feel like every show I'm trying like something different or something new. And it's pretty exciting to, I don't know, just grow and learn and be better because I feel like I never like started wrestling. I didn't think when I was like a fan, I didn't think it was like possible to work for the WWE. I didn't think it was like a realistic thing. That was like so implemented in me. So when I did training, I was like, let me just have a match or something. I just wanted to be able to do it because when I started wrestling, I was not good at it. Like it was not something that came natural to me. So I had to just spend a lot of time just continuously training. Like I'm 5 years and I still try to train every week. Like because if I training, I lose it. Like I don't feel like as confident, as sharp in the ring. And I just think that's like the main lesson I've learned recently. Like it's just there's nothing you can't skip it. You truly can't. Like even if you work out and you do a bunch of shows, it won't be the same.
Yeah. No, it's cool that you're in so many different places. I think it's cool too because the freelance shows can get very crowded. And I think they do a really good job with like getting people in and stuff like that and like balancing a card. But there's just so many because the academy's gotten so popular, so many people vying for spots. So if Blair Onyx isn't on freelance cards, it's still cool that you're like getting work and being able to do your thing. So I think that's awesome that you're branching out. And it sounds like you said like you've been trying new stuff. So is that kind of the benefit of going other places? You're just like, maybe you're looser. You're just like, yeah, I'll go over here. I'll experience this. I'll go over here and try this. And it's like a little bit more freeing in that way.
Yeah, I love to work with like different people. I love wrestling girls or anyone really like that I've never before. I feel like I learn something every time. And I think I've gotten to like in the position in my career where I'm starting to wrestle a lot newer girls. Like I'm starting to be the more experienced one.
Nice.
Yeah, crazy. I'm getting
You're the
old.
locker room vet.
It's cool to just be on the other side of it because I feel so grateful for everyone who like trusted their body with me when I was learning and I was so new at it. And like I was trying my best, but when we're new at something, we're bound to mess up. So I'm really grateful for everyone that's like took me under their wing and like because I feel like in wrestling, like sometimes like you can be really close with someone and then your life, you can just grow apart and just life happens. We're all going through stuff. And sometimes we just choose to, I feel like I've always been the type to be really careful who I let like in my inner circle. Because I just need to protect my energy. Like I know if I'm like conflicting with someone or if someone makes me really sad all the time to be around them or like see them, I just remove myself because I just don't feel that. I just truly like I've always like kept like all my close friends kind of in a tight-knit circle because I just feel like it just makes me feel the best. And I'm really grateful for like people who have helped me along the way. And like maybe if we don't even like talk anymore, I'm still grateful for like all the help and like I'll always look at them in a good light. But I feel like we grow as people and sometimes we can outgrow people. And not saying that they're behind me, I'm just saying like I'm growing in a different way. And so there's like definitely like people I dropped my lashes. there's definitely like people I don't talk to anymore, and I was super close with them in a period of my life. But I think as humans, we always have to just focus on our goals and focus on what we want. And if something is like, I feel like is getting in my way, I'm just going to remove it, because I can't spend time like being sad, because I was sad for a long time. And it's just, I'm super protective of my energy and like the people I let into my life, because I need to be.
No, 100%. It's almost like life is a web,
Yeah.
and you're going up this part of the web, and they're leaving that negative energy behind. So I love that. I love that PMA you got going. Looks good on you. Did the new people that you were wrestling, did you tell them that you used to be called Brock Onyx, and you would power slam people in the ring? Did you ever tell them that story? Or no?
I'm still Brock Onyx.
Still.
The B5 gets hit, a lot more recently, a lot more this year. I actually brought it back. I didn't hit it for a few years.
Okay.
But you guys know Rachel Armstrong?
Mm-hmm.
You guys heard of her? Yeah. I wrestled her one time, and I just looked at her. I was like, I need to F5 this girl.
She needs it. She needs it. Don't ever look at any of us and be like, I need to F5 that person, because I will.
I have.
Chris, you look very F5able, no?
She's so sweet. Honestly, if I can like spend some time just putting her over, I feel like she has gotten really good really fast, and I see a very bright future for her. So I'm excited to see like all the opportunities she's been getting. She's been traveling, and she just graduated college with 2 degrees.
Dang.
Okay.
I think that's definitely someone to keep an eye out for.
That's props to her. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So quick, if we're on this like feel good, like you've definitely made some like confident moves and positive mental attitude, like all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I want to take advantage of that and ask you if you can point to a match that you feel the most proud of. Like,
my first ever match for Glory Pro, I got to wrestle Kylie Rae. I'm honestly like her biggest fan. And so that match, I feel like I learned so much, and I don't know, I'm super proud of it. And I was super new, and I feel like that's when I started to realize like the power of like reacting to things and like really interacting with fans, and like I feel like it really set off like the gears started clicking, and I feel like I got a lot better within the next few months after that match.
Great. Yeah, she sounds like she brings the best out of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Love her.
I love that. There is a couple other things we wanted to touch on if we want to go more serious again for a second. Like this is May Mental Health Month, right? Okay. Have you seen the Iron Claw?
I did. Super sad. Really sad.
So sad. Talking about, wrestling. If we're gonna talk wrestling and mental health, that movie, I feel like I just watched it recently. Chris, have you seen it?
I have not.
I know I'm very late to the game. If people listen to this, like, yeah, that movie's been out forever. I was like, I know, but it just got put on Max for streaming free.
That's why everyone's tweeting about it. I'm like,
yeah, that's why the resurgence has come back.
Yeah.
There is an agenda item on here, and I think it was something I want to learn more about it. So it sounds like you did go through an intensive outpatient program. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So explain just what that is, and then your experience with it, because I think I had to kind of look up like the definition and things like that too. And this is, if it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I think this helps with awareness. So what it is, and then your experience with it.
So from my experience, an intensive outpatient program they called it like a hospitalization, pretty much. That's what they called it. That's what it was like billed as. And it's pretty much for people who are having like a super hard time, like that just need to be in therapy. Like that should be their main focus right now. And
Okay.
it was about 20 hours a week. I was there like 4 hours a day for 5 days a week. I don't remember. It was like 20 hours, but it was, but before that, I never had therapy before that. I feel like I never really like dealt with it. I knew I was sad, but I just thought it was like a normal feeling because I feel like I've always been that way. I've always like reacted a similar way throughout my whole life. But I felt so like sad all the time, and I felt like it was like I didn't see a bright future at all. And so I had to make a phone call, and I called. I remember, I think I looked it up online because I just at the time didn't even know how like therapy worked. I
Yeah.
done it. So I I forgot what I googled, but I ended up, I think I forgot the name of the program. I think it was somewhere around like Chicago suburbs, and I
Okay.
was about 20 hours a week. We had like group sessions, we had like individual talks, we had like a therapist assigned to us while we were there, and but it was a lot of group sessions, so there's a lot of us just like all talking as a group. And for some people they might not be into that, but for me, I thought it was cool just to see like what other people are going through, and it was really like eye-opening to see like it can get pretty bad. And I've never like been in anything like that. And I remember we were all in masks. So I feel like that kind of helped me too be more comfortable because like no, they didn't see my whole face. Um, but I remember when I went there, like everyone had like a goal, and my goal was to just feel like I can wrestle again because at that point I remember I just didn't think I could wrestle like ever again. I didn't think I could step into the ring because I just felt like my brain was not there. And
Mhm.
Um, so throughout the whole program, everyone was just trying to get you to your goal. And my goal was to start wrestling again. And we couldn't wrestle at the time because COVID. And
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
so I had some time. But I don't know how long I was there. I was there for maybe like a month, maybe more. It was honestly a while ago, so I don't remember like all the details. But I think I still have the folder from it. They gave us a bunch of like worksheets about, we learned like coping skills and like a bunch of different stuff. And I know about it now, but at the time it was like new.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I really fully use them anymore because I just feel like I'm in such a better place. And
Yeah.
I felt like at the time everything like minor that happened to me was like the end of the world. And like because I felt like I was going through it so bad. So anything on top of it, I was like, what am I gonna do? And I don't know. I met a girl there actually that we like still follow each other on Instagram to this day. Her name is Jessica. And like we went through that together. We were like around the same age. I think she like went to college in New York. Um and we still like follow up on each other. We like each other's stuff. It's and I think it's probably cool to see like I got what I wanted and I'm wrestling again, and like I don't know. And but after that, I feel like once I was discharged from the program, because you're not there like some people see therapists for a really long time. Like that's just not a program like that. And I got assigned to I had to pick like a therapist afterwards. And guys, worst therapist ever. This man,
Oh no.
the whole time I was there, he would be like, "Oh, I'm the best. I have so many accolades and accomplishments, and like I know what I'm doing." And like, why? Like it would be like 10 minutes, and he would like focus on like little things that I did in my routine, and he's like, "That's it. That's the issue. That's the problem." And so after like a few sessions, and I think it like lasted for like a month or something, I was like, "Oh, I'm better. I'm good. See you." And
You fixed me. You're
I,
so good.
I'm good. Bye. And so I stopped seeing him, and
Yeah.
um, I was I felt good. I didn't feel like I did before I started the program. And I was also on medication for anti anxiety and antidepressants. And I was actually on this medication for a really long time. Like, I actually stopped taking my medication about, like maybe like 2 months ago. I stopped taking it. Um, and I feel like everyone is like different when it comes to how medication affects them. A lot of
Mhm.
people are really against me going off of it because they didn't want to see me bad again, which great friends. Like I so respect that. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful, like people think that way. But one of the medications I was on, it caused me to gain like 40 pounds. And like, I felt like I was starting to get sick, and I felt like my body was so unhealthy. And so I made the choice to first to just go off of that one. And I was fine. I didn't feel sad. I felt good. Like I felt like I did every single day. And so maybe like about a month ago, I decided to go off of the other one.
Okay.
And it was a personal decision, but I just didn't want to be so reliant on my doctor because I feel like I'm at the point I'm an independent contractor with wrestling. My job changes a lot. Like my health insurance changes a lot. So every time it would
Yeah.
change, I was so stressed about getting my medication. And it became like such an issue that I just decided I'm going to try to get off of it and just try to be off of these meds and see how I am. And if I'm sad, I'll go back, it's okay. But I honestly feel so good. I feel great. Like I genuinely feel excited. I feel like a little different off of it. I feel like I feel things a lot more. Like when I feel like I'm a lot more emotional, but I feel like I'm
Okay.
able to emotions a lot better. I feel like I'm much more mature now. I'm about to turn 27 in the end of this month, and I started wrestling when I was 20. Like I turned 21 when I like was just about like in the middle of my wrestling program at Black and Brave. And so I was so young, like looking back. And I remember at the time I was like, man, I'm so old to start wrestling. And now like I'm looking at I feel like I genuinely grew up in this business, and I feel like so much more mature, and I feel like I can like speak
Mhm.
things I want, and I'm better at like communicating. And I just feel like all the work that I've done in like the past like 5 years, it took a long time. It like brought me to like a better state of mind and a better way of living and dealing with things like that. And it's cool. It's cool to just see growth and like growth because I feel like we so focus on the growth we have in wrestling and where we are in our careers, but like
So yeah.
real life out there too. And it's there's just so much more than wrestling. And I feel like when I like realized that and I took a step back and I started to actually like take care of myself, that's when it started to come back. Like you I felt like I was so focused on my wrestling that like that's what caused like my downfall. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
focused,
yeah,
like
you're a person.
yeah, like I just all my whole worth was how I was doing in wrestling. And when I started to do bad, like everything came crumbling down. And like I don't know. I feel like I've been doing super good this year. Like at the start of the year, I don't know. New Year's resolutions, I like them. I think they're cool. I think it's cool to start, even if you don't do it. Like, it's cool to be excited to want to change. Like, that's so rare. So I feel
True.
like the people who like hate on New Year's resolutions, I think they're lame because even if it doesn't work, at least you want it to change. And maybe in the future you will.
That is true. And I think and as I hear you, right? And Charlie just said, I was like, you're human. And we see you under this like Blair Onyx wrestler. We
Yeah.
see your growth as a wrestler, but it's more important for us to witness that human growth and um, seeing that mindset shift. It's super important, and I think acknowledging like, look, like this is what I needed, and this is the time I needed to take.
Yeah.
Um, it's not easy, and not everybody is able to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but being able to acknowledge it, take it, and grow from that, I think
Yeah.
that's really cool to hear.
Yeah. We're living witnesses. Like I remember being in that room with you and with Missa and with Elena, and like I remember I remember you guys were stressing about like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do with like we were maybe asking questions about like what is your character or something like that. And like you were so I remember you guys stressing so much, and then we went around the room and they're like, yeah, I'm 19, I'm 21. And I was just, Chris and I were laughing. We were laughing because you guys are so young. Like you were stressed, you hadn't figured it out, but you were just still so young. And like Chris and I are like, they'll get it. They got a lot of time. They'll figure it out. But no, I think Chris and I are living proof. You sound so much more mature, I want to say. Not that you were immature when we had that conversation, but you feel like a very grown person to me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're witnesses, you and I, Chris.
And it's really cool to like get to talk to you guys like 5 years later. I think that's really cool. And I feel like I've been trying to do more podcasts and interviews because I feel like my mental health has held me back from doing them for a long time. So I would just freak out, and I got to a point where I was like, I hate these. Why do I do them? I don't want to do them. But I don't know. I think it's good to just, I don't know, be more open because fans listen to this and like it could affect them. And I think I'm starting to like realize how cool it is to be a wrestler, and not in just the fact that I get to do something I love. It's we actually get to make a change in like people's lives, and there's like kids that see us and they think we're so cool, and like they come back and they're like, you haven't been here in 2 months. Like they think about you and they have their picture on their wall. That's crazy. Like if you really think about it, because when I was like a little kid, I was so obsessed with the WWE. Like it was what I watched every Monday, and like I would try to find people at school that like to talk about it, and just to be on like the other side and get to do like, I don't know. When you wanted to do this, like when you were a little kid and this was your dream, the energy is different. I feel like passion will always like shine through. And like if you love it, you're going to do what you need to do to get where you want to be. And I feel like it's always like it's you versus you. Like it's always, do you want to put the work in? Do you want to be consistent? Because sometimes like it's a grind. Like sometimes you're not going to want to do it. Like sometimes I come home from work because I work a full-time job on top of this too. Yeah. And I come home from like working 8 hours, and then I'm like, all right, I have to go to the gym. And then there's like 2 weeks of the day after work, I go directly to training. So it's either gym or training, and then it's the weekend again, and then I'm traveling. It's like, it doesn't stop ever, but I feel like weirdly it's good for me to do this. I genuinely feel like in a good place from having this like routine. And I feel like if I can just keep up with like the work that I've done in like the past half year going forward, I feel like there's a lot of places I can make in my career.
Yeah, you are by far one of the most candid, I think, people we've ever talked to. And that's a compliment, honestly, I think, because like sometimes we've had conversations. It doesn't happen often. Sometimes we had conversations where like we're trying to pull the story out of figuratively trying to pull the story out of this person. But no, we don't need to say anything. And like you've told us so many cool things, I think. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure talking. What is the immediate future? Not to think too far ahead, right? Because me personally, I think too far ahead, I get anxious. But what is like the immediate future hold? Is it just sticking to the grind? Are we going to see any new? Your promos, your creepy promos are fantastic.
Thank you.
Are any of those going to come back? Any new wrinkles to the character, like anything like that?
I actually watched one of those promos the other day, and I was like, oh, I wish I did it this way instead. So maybe I could like build off of one and make one. They just take a lot of time. I do them myself. Like I do the filming, I do the editing, like on my computer. So it just takes me like few hours, like half a day maybe to do one, which is
that's a lot.
It's not a lot of time in like the grand scheme of things, but I just have so much going on. Like I'm traveling a ton, but if I ever have free time and I'm feeling like creative and I'm not feeling like super tired, I really like doing them. They're really fun to do.
Yeah, I think Chris and I, I think what's always stuck out is it's in one of our social media profiles, but like about being different. And I feel like your look, you as a person, you are unique. But like your look and like the character Blair Onyx was always something that stuck out and was very unique. So I'm excited for like, you can go, and with like the dark scariness, there's so many like movies or anything that can inspire you that you can pull from. There's endless amounts of like horror out there. So yeah, I think you'll pull some rabbits out of your hat.
I hope so.
And then the only other thing on our agenda, unless Chris had anything else, or if you have anything else, but if people are traveling on the road, and they want to focus on road trip safety, what are some things they should do, Blair?
Okay. So I feel like I should start this off with saying I got into like a really major car accident like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, jeez.
I was on a trip home from a wrestling show in Wisconsin. It was like a 7-hour trip, and I was 15 minutes away from home. And I was driving on a highway, only car on there, 1 a.m, a highway I drive on every single day, to get to work, to get anywhere, to get to training. And I'm in the middle lane by myself. I like turn my like temperature in my car. I looked down for a second, and when I looked up, it immediate, like I didn't even have a chance to see what it was. It like hit my car. So there was a piece of the deer in the front of my car. So I didn't even know what I hit at first. I was freaking out. I was like,
oh no. Because
my car immediately malfunctioned. So I had to pull it to the side right away. And I was freaking out. And then I saw that it was the deer, and so I had to get a tow truck, and I had to file a claim through my insurance, and the grand total damage. So I didn't know, like it was really bad. So I was like, I don't know if they're gonna total this car. I don't know if they try to fix it. I was really hoping they were gonna total it because it's pretty bad, and they're gonna try to fix it. And so they sent me like a PDF of everything wrong with it, and then like it's like really, really small letters. It's like a little list, and it's like 3 pages long. It's like 154 items they have to fix. $12,000 worth of damage. I'm due to get my car back in like 10 days. So all I can do is hope there's no issues. Like once I get the car back, I'm trying to think positive.
It wasn't a total loss?
No, it was not. They're trying to fix it. So good luck. Hopefully they do. I feel like if I have an issue like super early on when I get the car back, I can still call the insurance and be like, help. What the heck? It's so broken. But if it's like 6 months after and something goes wrong, I feel like I gotta take the L. So I don't really trust my car for like super long road trips, honestly, anymore. Until I drive it. Maybe if I drive it for like 6 months and it's perfect, then I'll be like, okay, fine. But imagine like having to get told like from Wisconsin. Like that's what I was thinking about when I got into the accident. Like, what if I was so far away and I had to get my totaled car back to another state? Like, I feel like it could have been a lot worse. And I was completely okay from the accident. Like my back hurt for like maybe like a day, but after that, I'm great. I'm healthy. I'm like, that's the main thing. I'm not hurt. Like it could have like gone through the window and like, who knows? Like, cause that's what people were telling me happens sometimes. And I don't know, it was crazy. So that's eyes on the road. Like, I feel like if I didn't look down to turn my temperature, I probably wouldn't hit it. But because before this, I've had 5 near deer experiences, like 5 times on all my trips, because I drive everywhere. Like I spent in the 3 years I've had my car, I have like 117,000 miles on it. And like the guys at the discount tire, when I go there, they're like, you were here like 2 weeks ago. What? Where do you go? And it's kind of funny, but like a car is like a huge part of my life. And so I try to do my best to take care of it. And like, I don't know. All I can do is I could freak out and be stressed and anxious about it, but all I can do is hope there's no issue. And if there's an issue, we'll deal with it then. Because
you are so that story gave me so much anxiety for the way you're handling this and how positive you are. You are 100% a stronger person than I am. because I deal with the smallest amount of car trouble, and I am just an absolute wreck. So
Me too. Me too. I had like
you don't seem phased though. You seem fine.
Because it's so bad, like I can't. It's kind of funny. Like it's so.
I felt bad when you were telling the story because I was kind of giggling, especially when you said near dear experience. But like I'm like,
I've dodged them before. Like I know you're not supposed to do that. That's what people were telling me. Like when I got into this one, you're supposed to just because if you swerve, there's a way higher risk you'll get hurt. But for 5 times I swerved and I dodged them. Not this time. It was in my fate to hit this deer. R.I.P. to the deer.
Whether it was a deer or anything else, like I'm glad you were okay at the end of the day.
But
that's true.
When they told me they were fixing my car, I definitely was kind of like, I called the car company and I was kind of a Karen. Like I was like, well, what do you mean? Like you're gonna try to fix it?
No, honestly, you gotta be like, you gotta be with some of those companies because you gotta like stand your ground a little bit. It's this whole game, like, so you did the right thing.
Because what the heck? Like it was when they tow, because the insurance company sent a tow truck to pick it up from my house. And when they tried to tow it, it wouldn't start anymore. When they picked it up on the little T thing, it started leaking something. And I was like, you guys are going to fix
that? Oh my God, what a story. I think if you would have told the story at the beginning of the hour, I would not have been able to continue. The story is like wrecking me.
Like, I really hope my car lasts because I still have the car to pay off. Like, this year has to be about my money because I have things to pay for and I don't want to be in a bad situation. So I'm just going to get this car paid off this year. And that's that.
Yeah. You got to make the towns, brother.
Yeah. For promoter watching this, please book me because I need to talk.
Oh my God, Blair, it's been an absolute pleasure. This has been an hour. This has been a roller coaster, much like the past 5 years have been for you, but it sounds like you're on the up and up. We're so glad we got to talk. So glad we get to hang out. Chris, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask Blair?
No, I think just like really like thank you not just for spending this last hour with us, but the journey you've taken us throughout the years, right? Like we talked about that episode in 2019 and seeing your growth and whenever we would see you at shows, like you were very honest of like this is where I'm at right now. Um and even us, like because we felt this connection from that first time with you, it's like we want to have you on the pod and you picked the right time to come back on the pod.
Perfect
You worked
timing.
on yourself. And as you know, us as wrestling fans, like because you worked on yourself, we enjoy the work that you put in the ring over the years. So, all we can do is just be along for the ride and see where Blair Onyx is up next. So thank you for that, and thank you for again coming back to Two Heels and a Face, and we're just here to be fans and enjoy the ride.
It was so fun. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Where should people follow?
I'm on X or Twitter at Blair Onyx, but Onyx is backwards, so it's like Blair Zino. My Instagram is Blair Onyx. I have a TikTok, and that's it. That's all I have.
There you go. This is fantastic. Yeah, I think this episode can apply to wrestling fans, but just to people struggling with everyday life. So yeah. I think you set the standard this year for sure for open, candid conversations. That's my opinion.
Rock on.
I agree. As far as Two Heels and a Face goes, make sure you follow us at Two Heels and a Face. That's Twitter, X, I guess. Instagram and Facebook at number 2 Heels and a Face. Check out twoheelsandaface.com. We had recently published an article about wrestling venues. And all the other podcasts are on there as well. So
here's what I gotta say about that article about wrestling venues. Everyone stop taking it so seriously. It's supposed to be like goofy. The article is supposed to be goofy. We got like Robert Ego Anthony, which we love. We love it. We're very pro Ego podcast. But he's commenting. He's like, well, they should be. He's like, they shouldn't be on this list because they can't run shows anymore. It's like, everyone just relax. It's just a hypothetical article about ranking the top 5 venues.
It's where Charlie and I have been, and we've enjoyed wrestling in these venues different ways.
Yes, it's
Robert
mostly
Eagle
satire.
Anthony, maybe the Forge will make it. I don't know. Maybe the Navarro Farm will make it. Robert Eagle, chill out.
We love them. No, we got to get Ego back on the podcast. But then they got other people messaging me. It's like, yeah, they don't run. It's like, dude, everyone just read the article and just have a laugh. Seriously, that's what that's for. But yes, lots of episodes. Like we mentioned, Darius Luttrell and some other stuff. Hopefully, I have like a Missa Kate on. Hopefully, I have an Ego on in the future. But choosonface.com, like Chris said.
All right, make sure you hashtag Viva La Chico.
Yep.
So, yep.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.